What's up, guys? Jason Guyman here tonight, and tonight we're going to talk about Christmas lights. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know to be able to hit six figures and more by hanging Christmas lights in just 60 days. That's pretty awesome. You might get 70 if you're lucky, but I'm going to walk you step by step the things that you need to be able to start and grow your business. Now, I'm going to talk about things that I've not talked about in the past. And if you've watched my videos before, if you haven't gotten your Google My Business, I'm going to teach you a little bit different tonight than I normally have taught in the past. So it might be something that you might want to pay attention about if you're trying to get your Google My Business up and running versus what I used to tell you in the past. So that is what I'm going to talk about. It's all about Christmas. We are in Christmas in July. Every Wednesday night, I bring you Christmas lights. Every Sunday night, I bring you pressure washing. But tonight is going to be about Christmas lights and how can you make six figure? Can you make $100,000 in just 60 days? And the answer is yes. I've had several students make $100,000 in their very first year. Now, I've had some other students that taken a little bit longer, but that's okay. They got there. And so I want to talk about things of what we need to do to be able to make us be able to grow our business, right? Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate them. It helps out. Definitely give me some thumbs up. I see we got some thumbs up coming. And so tonight, we're going to break down everything we need to do to be able to get this Christmas light business started and have a successful safety Christmas light season. Because the last thing I want you to do is fall off the roof and die, because that isn't any good for anybody, right? And so with that, we got Barry in the house. How are you doing, Barry? Howdy, Mr. Little Pressure Washing. We got my book of the week. My book of the week is still Endless Customers. If you have not read it, if you have not listened to it, do it. You're missing out. But don't just read it as in another book. Take action. Start filling out your Q&As. Start asking frequently asked questions. Start making videos of it, right? These are all things of the frequently asked questions. What are the questions that your customers always ask you? Now, I know if this is your first time on here and you're just starting to learn how to do Christmas lights, that's probably not where you don't even know what your customers want, but that's okay. I'm going to help you out and get you all going for tonight and to help you grow your business. Now, this will work with any business. This isn't just Christmas lights, the most of it in the front, but the rest of it will be. So this weekend, I had an excellent weekend. We actually went we went on vacation. We went to Dallas. We were at the Canyon Lake. We were about 20 to 30 minutes away from where all the flooding has happened this past couple of weeks. It's sad to see all those people have passed. We were actually at Canyon Lake, where all of those rivers running into Canyon Lake is where we were at. From there, we went down to Louisiana, and my kids love the beach, so we went to the beach for the day on Monday, and we got to see an alligator. That was pretty cool, laying on the beach. My daughter's like, we were just driving along, and my daughter's like, I think that's an alligator or a log, one of the two. And so we turned around, and it was just laying there. It wasn't moving, and we're like, is it alive? Is it dead? So we had a McDonald's sandwich, cheeseburger that my daughter didn't eat. And so I was like, let's see if it'll eat the cheeseburger. So I threw the cheeseburger at it, and he didn't even want to eat the cheeseburger. He just got up and turned around. So don't even want a McDonald's cheeseburger. So the moral of the story is you probably shouldn't eat cheeseburgers from McDonald's if the animals won't even eat it. So from there we went to the beach. They're like, yes, you can drive on the beach. And within 2 seconds I was stuck. So I had to dig myself out. Again, it's about problem solving, right? Business, life, it's all about problem solving. We're going to get ourselves into issues and things that we don't know what we need to do. And to be a good entrepreneur, you got to be a problem solver. If you're a pressure washer, you definitely got to be a problem solver, because things are going to break, things are going to not work. Things on Christmas lights, right? Things are not going to work that are supposed to. And so you got to be a good problem solver. So that's something that we got to remember of a problem solver. So I dug myself out of there. We went to the next beach. It was really cool. We went to Holly Beach first, and then we went to the next beach down. We took the little ferry across. There was tons of dolphins. That was pretty cool to see the dolphins. And then we drove home. So now I'm back home. And now I'm trying to get my new office separated. That's why I'm in my house now, because my office is not done yet. We actually just ran the internet line today, so I should have internet. So I will be able to start hosting out of there and posting out of there, and I'm excited for that. So now let's get to what you came for, right? Let's talk about how do we get to six figures starting a Christmas light business from zero. I want to take it from day one. I know nothing about a Christmas light business. This is Daniel's 2 years ago, not last year because Daniel did 500,000, but the year before Daniel did $179,000. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. Daniel didn't learn about Christmas lights till this week, right now, 2 years ago. Daniel's actually, they go to Orlando every year. And when he was in Orlando 2 years ago, he was like scrolling through YouTube and he was like, man, look at these Christmas lights. And so he started following my stuff and he started learning from me, and he started to grow his business from zero, nothing. And from there, he grew it to 179,000 his first year, over 500,000 last year. And if he doesn't hit 1 million this year, it would really shock me. It really would shock me. And so these are things that we will hit on of what we got to do to be able to go through that. In my opinion, best yard sign tip no one ever talked about is having multiple phone numbers and repurposing signs with different colors and designs and going back to the same locations over and over. The good thing about that is then you can, if you do it right, if you got multiple numbers, then you can figure out what color works best with which design, right? So does Christmas lights pros work better than just Christmas lights? Does holiday lighting work better than whatever? Does red work better than yellow, right? Whatever it might be. So that is definitely something that is for sure a thing to do. Okay, so first thing off, we need to come up with a business name. Now, here's the thing about this. Don't get overwhelmed with a lot of these things. A lot of times I will have people come and want to start their Christmas light business. And I'll be like, great, that's awesome. These are the things you need to do. Awesome. So I'm working on my logo. And 3 months later, they're still working on their logo. They haven't made a dime and they're still working on their logo. Let's not be that person. Let's be the person that starts taking action. Let's be the person that we can start taking action and getting this business going. That should be our goal. How do we take action to get this business going? So the first thing is to come up with a name. Now, I know a lot of people want to overcomplicate this. What I will tell you is keep it simple. And I know sometimes my business was Christmas Light Cincinnati. And that was the name of my business. And guess what? It ranked because it's all keywords, what people are looking for. So that is one thing that I would highly motivate you to try to do is put Christmas light installers somewhere in your business name. Because when people are looking up your name, this is going to help you show up versus not having it in our name. So the first thing is to come up with a name. Once we get the name, then we need to go to our friends, the IRS. You can go to the IRS.com and it talks about starting a business, and we need to get an EIN number. This is like your social security number of your business. This is how they charge taxes to you. This is how you pay taxes to it. And you can be an LLC, you can be an S Corp. If you don't know what to be, find a good CPA. A good CPA can help you start figuring out this information. But if you're just starting out, you can start out as an LLC. This will help take our liability from our business, from our personal assets. So that is why we want to do the LLC. The next thing we want to do is get we need to get an LLC, and we get the LLC from the state. So the S corp or the LLC will be through the state, and then the EIN number is part of the IRS. So those are the two things we have to do to get this thing on the road and get it going. All right, so once we get that done, we need to start looking at insurance. I know some people will be like, I'm just going to wait on insurance. But if you burn a house down and you don't have insurance, it's not going to be good on you. And you might think, Jason, there's no way I'm going to burn a house down. Let me tell you a story. I was at a training one time up in Indianapolis. There was about 40 people in this training. 35 to 40 people in this room. It was upstairs, and it was in an old building. Well, one of the things I do is when I do my trainings, I will put things to make it not work, right? I want to see how to troubleshoot, what to troubleshoot, because the troubleshooting part is the hardest part of hanging Christmas lights. Why isn't these lights working and these lights are? So I do some things to make it so that we can have to, as a class, figure out why are these working and these are not working. So we were doing this portion of the class, and one of the females was bad on the line that I had made. So one of the females was bad. So I gave him another female. It was a brand new female. I had not tapered with this female at all. It came out of the bag, brand spanking new. As soon as he put this thing on and plugged it in, it went pow. And when it went pow, it caught on fire. He was about 30 feet back. He was almost to the back of the room. And this thing had caught on fire so fast that it had melted down through the carpet all the way to the wall. And Fred was trying to unplug this as this was going on. And as he's trying to unplug it, he's going, woo, hot, woo, hot. It's literally burning his fingers as he's trying to unplug this here. Now, I used to not push GFCI protectors. I did, but I never really, most people didn't. Now I push them on everything. You need a GFCI protector anytime you are installing Christmas lights. Please do this because you hope it will trip it. The other thing I would tell you is if this happened up on a roof, you would have burnt the house down because you couldn't have got down and turned it off. So that's why we also want the remote on and off button so we can turn these lights on and off if there's an issue. Not only was Fred up there hooting and hollering, the smoke was banking down. Like the smoke was about eye level. And I'm not joking at this. The smoke had started smoking that bad, it was down to eye level. And there was this lady up on the front row screaming, oh my God, we're going to die. Over and over and over. So I'm hearing, oh my God, we are going to die. At the same time, Fred's going, whoo, hot. And that time and that moment is when I realized you better have insurance, because things you might think that should be simple and easy aren't always simple and easy. So that's the importance of why we should have insurance for our business. Now, for insurance, it can get a little tricky. Christmas lights is a little bit tough to get it, and you might have to call around a couple places to get your insurance. All right, so insurance. Next thing is our bank accounts. Again, we want to separate business from personal, because if you have liabilities or you have assets, the last thing you want to do is something happen they sue you, they get your assets. So that's why we want to do the liability. That's why we want to make it business separate. All right. So that's the first things that we need to do is to get our business going. The next thing we need to do is get trained. You know, a lot of times I'll have people come to my class and they might be coming for permanent lights and they've already done some Christmas lights. And they're like, man, I didn't know to do it that way. When I used to hang Christmas lights, it's been taking me 3 to 4 hours to hang a house. And so, you know, they thought that they were saving money by not getting trained properly in this ways to get things done quickly and safely, right? Because that is the key, is to do it quickly and safety. Because they're walking back and forth to the truck 15 times because they haven't figured out all the things they needed in a checklist to make sure that they have the checklist before they go to the house. So they're walking back and forth to the house 25 times, and every time the phone's ringing and they're looking at their phone, they're looking at Facebook, they got a Facebook message, and so now they got to stop and see what the Facebook message is, and the next time they're coming back they got a text message, and so we got to see what the text message is, and the next thing you know, it takes 3 to 4 hours to hang lights on a house. If you do it the way we teach and have everything set up, most houses can take anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 hours, and that is flying and getting it. But yes, you can do that. So get training. You know, christmaslights.io/IPT, it's in-person training. I go over everything that you need, a whole day hands-on of how to hang Christmas lights. The next thing after training is we have to figure out, you can be the best Christmas light installer out there. And I see this happen a lot. I have a lot of people that are amazing at Christmas light installers, but they can't get to $100,000 because they don't spend money on marketing. You have to spend money on marketing. Hold on here. So you have to do marketing, right? I don't know what type of marketing you want, but you have to do marketing. But before you do marketing, I want to talk about one other thing you have to do. You have to be able to do sales and marketing, right? Because we can be the best marketer, but if we don't know how to close the jobs, then that's another issue, right? A lot of times we think that, you know, I always tell people, I could give you $1 million worth of leads, but if you don't know how to close them, you won't even make $100,000. The words that we speak, the way that we say these words can cause us to either make us or break us, right? Are you asking yes or no questions? If you are, that's not always the best thing to do, right? So these are all things that we need to learn and figure out how to do this. And no, I have not said we need to buy Christmas lights yet, right? We don't need to be buying Christmas lights until we start spending money in our marketing and getting our marketing down and what we need to do. I see so many people, they'll go buy $10,000 worth of Christmas light. I love you when you buy $10,000 worth of Christmas lights from christmaslight.io. But I want you to be successful, because I've seen people spend $10,000 in Christmas lights and only get $15,000 worth of jobs. So they made $15,000, but they're $5,000 in the hole because they didn't know how to do closed sales. They didn't know how to do marketing. They didn't know how to get the phone to ring. The most important thing of Christmas light business is, how do we get the phone to ring? So that's what I want to hit on next. How do we get the phone to ring? Well, one thing we talk about Google Business Profile. Yes, we need to do our Google Business Profile, but we don't want to do it right away. Unless you like to do video verification, and there's not 100% guarantee that the video verification is going to work. So this is the trick to get around the video verification. One, go ahead and have your website. On your website, we need to have our NAP. We need to take a NAP, and so we need to put our NAP on there. What is the NAP? It's the name, address, and phone number of your business. So we need to have that in the footer of your website, so that way they can have that on your website. Because what we're wanting to do is show Google that we are a business without ever showing them that we're a business, right? We don't want to be going into there yet. So after we do that, we want to go ahead and once we get our website up, we need to have our Facebook page with our business, right? Christmas lights, whatever business page on Facebook. And again, it needs to have our NAP. It needs to have our name, address, and phone number on it, with a couple posts talking about our name, address, and phone number. Next thing is we need to have our LinkedIn page, business page. Our LinkedIn business page is going to have our name, address, and phone number. What we're doing is we're showing Google that, hey, there is a business here, right? And eventually Google will allow you to do this. So, and sometimes Google will say, hey, there's a business here and it's unclaimed. Then we can go claim that business, and now it's a lot easier to do that, right? So what other some things? So we got LinkedIn, Facebook, we have some citations. You can do directories and citations. You can go on Bright Local and buy $100, $200 worth of citations on there with all the name, address, and phone number. And again, this is showing Google. You can do some YouTube. Yeah, I said that. You really want to start showing up on YouTube. You can do a YouTube channel, and you're not going to talk about how to hang Christmas lights. You're not going to be a next guru. You want to be local, right? So we're going to be talking about Christmas light installers in St. Louis. And the video is basically going to be about Christmas light installers in St. Louis. It don't even have to be you. And then in the description of that video, we're also getting put a lot of words, because the AI is pulling a lot of that information off of YouTube. So that's the reason why we want to use YouTube to be able to do this. We can talk about Christmas light installers that install wreaths in St. Louis, right? And so we're going to be local. We're going to go after that local side of things. And that way we can make sure that we are doing the local side. So we're going to do the YouTube, we're going to do LinkedIn, we're going to do Nextdoor, we're going to do another one that I hate. We're going to do the BBB, the Better Business Bureau. We're going to set that one up. If you have the local commerce of chambers and you are a member of it, I would use that one too. Those are all good backlinks showing that Google of, hey, this is a legit business. And then the last one that, again, I'm not a fan of, but it works, is Yelp. And the reason why we do Yelp is because Yelp is owned by the same people of Microsoft, of LinkedIn, of ChatGPT, OpenAI, and so that's why we are going to do that one also. So that is how we're going to start showing up in Google. Now, once we get all of these done, then Google will probably index us and show you that, hey, we're a legit business. We also want to make sure our website has Google Search Analytics on and Google Search Console. Both of those we need to make sure we have set up on your website. Those are very key important things that we have set up on the website. So if you need a website help, you can go to christmaslights.io under the resources marketing. I have some stuff there for websites for you if you want to check those out. All right, next thing we need to do. Next thing is that's get us up on Google Local. That's not really going to get us business, right? So you got to pick what you got. There's two ways to get business. One, you spend money, or two, you spend time. If you don't have money, you got lots of time. If you don't have time, you probably got lots of money. Some of you don't have money or time, and then you're just on a hamster wheel. So what do we need to do to be able to get this done, right? So we need to start figuring out, if you don't have any money, these are some things you're going to do. One, you're going to go and start in the Facebook groups. You're going to start following all of the groups that you can. The buy, sell now, the local groups, they all kind of suck. The groups you really want to get into, or is your wife really wants to get into, is the mom groups. The mom groups are your money groups. Those are the secret weapon right there, is the mom groups. The mom groups are very awesome and they work really well for you. Now, when we get in these groups, we're not being like, I'm a Christmas light installer, you need to buy my Christmas lights. We're going to build know, like, and trust. People buy from people know, like, and trust. So we're going to get into these groups and we're just going to build relationships. When someone asks who does this, we're going to tell them, hey, Bob the plumber does this. Who does the electric? Hey, Sparky does the electric person, right? And so we're going to build that network out so people know who we are. We can also do Facebook. Now, when we talk about Facebook, I always talk about Bobby Duncan. Bobby Duncan does amazing with Facebook. He does over about $500,000 in business off of Facebook alone. Now, he does not post once a day. If you post once a day and think that's going to get you anywhere, it's not. You got to post 4, 5, 10, 15, 10 times a day, literally 9, 10 times a day. You're posting pictures, you're posting reels, you're doing lives, you're doing videos. You are showing yourself over and over and over, right? So that's what we're doing. And you're doing 80% of just building relationships. You're not talking about your business 80% of the time. That's only 20% that you're going to talk about the business. So 80% of the time, you're just building relationships. So that's how we can do stuff for free. Those are two things, Facebook and Facebook groups. Here's one that you can do free too. It takes a little bit of balls, but you got them. Most of you do. Some of you might not. So what you may have to do is go door knocking. And yes, you can start door knocking as we speak right now. Daniel is cold calling people every day. And here's the thing. If you want large commercial jobs, you have to flip rocks. You either have to cold call or you have to go and meet these people. You got to go knock on doors and say, hey, do you want Christmas lights? And so Daniel this is how he's going to get to his million, is he is calling people every day. Is there days that he gets no's a lot? Yes. Is there weeks that he gets no's a lot? Yes. Has there been month that he got all no's and no yeses? Yes. June, he got all no's and no yeses. But you know what? He didn't stop calling. You know what happened in July? He got like 3 or 4 yeses in a row. Now, he would have never got those yeses if he didn't go after the no's. So this is the important part, that you have to go after the no's. If you think that people are just going to come and do your business, it's not going to happen. I promise you it will not happen. And so this is why we have to go for the no's, because it's a numbers game. We get enough no's, we're going to get to the yeses. So he called for a whole month. He probably called 100 to 200 people in the month of June and got all no's. But July come around, he got 2 or 3, 4 right off the bat for yeses. And so this is the importance of door knocking, is the same way. When you first start door knocking, the statistic is it'll take you about 50 doors to get no's before you get a yes. And some of you are going to be like, well, my pricing is too expensive. Jason's pricing is too expensive and I can't make money. No, you just don't know how to sell yet. And that's the thing, that you got to learn how to get your pitch down and make your pitch so that you can do this, right? And so that is the key of doing door knocking, is so that way the door knocking can work. It doesn't cost you a thing to door knock. I got a friend that did it last year, Eric Beck. He did over 300 homes, 250, 300 homes, all off of door knocking. Now, here's the thing. He's in an area that they will install Christmas lights for $2 a foot. You heard that right. $2 a foot. They're not making no money, but they're hanging Christmas lights. This is in Idaho. And so he went to $8 a foot and still closed that many jobs. So don't tell me that you can't get it in your area. It's just, you got to know how to sell better. and quit selling the bulbs, because a lot of you love to sell the bulbs. All right. So we got marketing. One of my favorite paid ones is Facebook ads. Work really good for Christmas lights. I've had seen people with a lot of success with Facebook ads. I've seen a lot of success with Google ads. I've seen a lot of good success with yard signs. I know people hate yard signs or hate on me on yard signs, but yard signs do work amazing. Keep it simple. Christmas light installers, big phone number, red sign with white lettering, works amazing. It works really good. And if you're going to do yard signs, I know people always like, I want to do 100 grand, and they'll be like, I only did 30 or $40,000. Well, how many yard signs did you put out? Well, I only put out about 100. Okay, so you put out 100. That's where you got most of your jobs. Put out yard signs, right? How do you put out 1,000 yard signs? Just think of this. If you want to try to make 100 grand, put out 1,000 yard signs. Put out 1,000 yard signs. Put 100 out every week of November, so that's 800. 400. Put out 100 every week in October, that is 200 or 800. Put 100 out in September, so that's 900, and put 100 out in August. There's your 1,000 yard signs. And I will promise you, your phone will ring and ring and ring. I would almost bet you if you put out 1,000 yard signs, you would do over 100 grand. I would, and you're able to answer the phone and able to get the quotes, pre-qualify them, and get it done quickly. If you don't answer the phone, that's the number one thing in this business. If you don't answer this phone and get a quote out within, and this is tough. I know this is tough for people because some of you are still on the truck. But if you can get that phone call and get that quote out to them within 20 minutes, 30 minutes, the likelihood of you closing that job goes through the roof. If it takes you that night or the next day or 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 6 days, 10 days later to get a quote out, your close rate's going to go way down really bad. And here's the thing. I see this over and over and over, right? This isn't something that, oh, I've never seen that. I'm telling you, if we can get the phone answered and get that quote out within 30 to 40 minutes, 30 to 60 minutes, your thing is going to go way up. And then take it the next step further. Call them once you know that they open that quote, or call them the next day. Because what you will find out is most people don't always get your quote. You will find out that 30 to 40% of the people did not get your quote. They did not see your quote. They got busy, whatever happened. And so this is why it's important that we do the follow-up phone call the next day. Okay, so we talked about marketing, we talked about training, we talked about sales, we talked about different ways of getting business. Now, here's the next thing. Lights. Where do I get my lights? Well, you should get them at christmaslight.io. Just take the S off, and they have the best customer service ever. If you have an issue, they will get it out to you. Not only that, they ship the same day. They don't wait the next day to ship things out. They don't wait 2 or 3 days to ship things out because they don't have it in stock. They always have stuff in stock, and they always ship the same day. Even during the week of Thanksgiving, when it's crazy, 9 times out of 10, they will ship the same day. Now, sometimes Amazon or sometimes UPS doesn't always get it all, but they will ship the same day. And so that's an important part, right? And most places that if you need lights, you can get them within 1 to 2 days, 1 to 2 business days anywhere in the country. So it's not like you need to order a bunch. So this is what I'll tell you. Go sell jobs and then buy the lights. And if you can sell 4 or 5 jobs, so you can buy the 1,000-foot starter packages. And yes, I still buy the starter packages, because it's simple. I don't have to think. I know it's got the males. I know it's got the females. I know it's got the extension wire. I know it's got 1,000 feet of line, right? Simple. I like simple. The simpler, the better. So that's why I buy the packs. So if you want to go to christmaslights.io/starter packs, you'll find them there. So buy the packs, work a lot better. The next thing is in the sales portion, what do we charge per foot of lights, right? I know this gets asked all the time. And here's the thing. The reason why I teach people $8 to $12 a foot is because I want you to be successful. Could I teach you $6 a foot? Sure. Can you pay your guys well? No. Can you make sure you have the right insurance at $6 a foot? Probably not. Do you have an admin answering the phone for you? Probably not. So let's start with a success business at $8 to $12 a foot. Well, Jason, I'll do that next year. You know how many people do it next year? None, because they don't know, they're afraid that they can't get that, right? Because they'll ask $8 a foot and they get told no, because you have to believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself, that you can get $8 a foot and you're selling it at $6 a foot this year, you're not going to believe that you're worth $8 a foot. So start off at $8 a foot, charge up to 10, 12. If you need to get started, start at 8, right? I know people that go to 10, $12 a foot. I've got people at $14 a foot. And I know this is going to mind blow some people, but I have people hanging Christmas lights at $14 a foot. And so the thing that's success to be able to hit $100,000 is it's not about, a lot of people are like, I want to do 25 installs. Well, do you want to do 25 installs at $500 or do you want to do 10 installs at $2,500, right? What would you rather do? I would rather do 10 installs at $2,500 or a $2,000 average ticket versus getting 100 installs at $500, $600, $700. And here's the thing: if you're charging $4, $5, $6 a foot, here's the problem. And here's another reason why I like to charge $8 to $12 a foot. If you charge $8 a foot, majority of the time of you bidding, you are going to underbid the job. Let's take, for instance, dormers. The dog houses on top of the roof, the dormers. Well, maybe you didn't quote the lights going back. But I've got a picture that I can show you that has, if you didn't quote the going backs, it would be an extra 50 lights that you lost on. So you just lost on 50 lights. So technically you probably are at the $6 a foot at that point. But if you would have started at the $6 a foot and underbid it, then you would be at $3, $4 a foot. So this is another reason why I do the $8 a foot, so that way it keeps it simple, keeps it easy. But pricing is definitely something that you need to figure out, because this is what's going to keep you in business. Is your goal needs to get your average ticket up, right? If your average ticket's at 1,000 this year, how do we get it to 1,500? If your average ticket's at 1,500, how do we get it to 2,000? If your average ticket's at 2,000, how do we be like Dan and Lindy and get it to 2,800, right? That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how do we get our average ticket up? I know a lot of people want to be the Walmart of Christmas lights. They want to do 1,000 jobs. Well, 1,000 jobs, and you don't make a whole lot of money doing 1,000 jobs. You got to have a whole lot of crew to put it up. You're going to have more issues. And here's the thing about cheap customers. Cheap customers are your worst customers ever, 9 times out of 10. Most of your callbacks will be from cheap customers. So don't go after cheap customers. So we talked about marketing, we talked about sales, we talked about yard signs, we talked about training, we talked about how to get pricing. So what is your goals for this year? What are some of your questions that you all might have this year in Christmas lights? What's up, AJ? Just wondering if changing the number on the yard sign might make it harder for customers to find you next year. No. Most people don't know your number from one year to the next, unfortunately. I'd say very few people is going to know your number from this year to the next year. Even the only way they would is maybe your number is Christmas lights or something like that. That's the only way they're going to remember your number. What I always try to do is, one of my secrets I always try to do is if I have a phone number with, let's just say all fours at the end, I will try my next number to be all fours at the end too, and then just change it up here, or it might be like 4344 or something like that. So that way it kind of keeps it in that same realm of what people might think. How many garden can run on one plug? How many garland can run on one plug? With LED lights, most of the time you can run a lot, but when you talk about garland, you can run anywhere, depend on the garland, because with like most LED lights, generally speaking, you can run anywhere from about 28 to 30 strands before you're going to start popping it. But if you have a long run like that, like a really long run, I will run an extension cord down along it, and I will plug in about every 3 or 4. So that way, if one blows a fuse, I'm only losing 20 or 30 feet and not the whole, 100 feet. So that's kind of where I would be at with it. What's up, Jason? What are some of the keyword phrases in your sales pitch? That keyword sales pitches that I don't use is I peaked the bulb. I use C9s. It's going to be, right? The only time I'm going to use that is if I have a type C personality and they want to know how much electricity it's going to use, right? It's really about building the know, like, and trust is more important. In fact, this past week, Monday, I was still driving in that night. And so I had Daniel do the call. And this question got asked. And I like what he said. I build a relationship. Yes, I'm going to use the customer service, and our goal is to make sure that you get what you need. But in the end, it's about building that relationship. When you build that know, like, and trust, people will buy from you. And so that's the important part of why we build that know, like, and trust, because we want people to buy from us. So some things that, keywords that I'm using, some keywords that I'm not using is can't, right? Don't be saying can't. Don't be talking about competitors. My competitors use this bulb. My blah, blah uses this bulb. Why am I going to even let them know that there's competitors out there? So those are words that we're going to stay away from. Negative words we're going to stay away from also, because all it could take is one word in your sales pitch that can turn those people off right then and there. And no matter what you say or do, you will never close that deal. You will never close that deal once you piss them off, or it might just be a key. You might not even piss them off that but it's a keyword that we know that is a negative word that causes them not to want to buy from us. Thanks. Yeah, kept tripping with 12 to 14 garland with 50 lights per garland. Yeah, so that's why I always ran extension, especially like when you got a lot of garland. I would always run the extension cord down with it, so that way I can just plug it in as it goes. And then that way it kind of keeps it from issues with too many lights. I'm surprised that it was blowing the fuses at 12 to 14. Was it incandescents or LEDs? That almost sounds that. Well, LEDs wouldn't. Incandescents only do 5. So I'm assuming that must have been. But a 50 count, how many? That's interesting. So again, if you want to learn how to grow this Christmas light business and you want to take your business to the next level, you need to come to Dallas. So next weekend, we're going to be in Dallas. ChristmasLights.io/IPT in-person training. Go to the Dallas one. I'm going to have Joseph and Chelsea Murphy there with me, and they're going to talk all about commercial. They do over $1 million doing mostly commercial work. And so Chelsea is amazing at sales. Chelsea is one that when you're around her, she doesn't talk when she's selling customers, she don't talk about the bulbs, she talks about premium luxury service, right? We are a luxury service. And when you start thinking that we're a luxury service and we're this type of service, you will start speaking that language. And when you start speaking that language, the thing that will help you is finding out who is your customer. And this is something that's very important. I want to hit on this too. If you know who your customer is, one of the things I always teach in my marketing class, I always ask, who is your customer? And I love the people that are like, everybody's your customer. Wrong. Not everybody's your customer, right? If you've been in the Christmas light business and you want to start growing and scaling this business, what I would tell you to do is take all of your customers and find out the top 10 zip codes, 5 to 10 zip codes. If you got 30 zip codes, you want the top 20% zip codes. Those are your customers, right? Those are your customers. And when you start looking at those, and especially like you might want to start doing mailers, you might want to do other things with it. You can start hyper focusing in on your customer. On your Facebook ads, you can start calling out those neighborhoods and only those neighborhoods, because we don't want to sell Christmas lights to everyone. I know a lot of people think that way, but I want my premium customers. I want the people that are willing to pay me $8, $10 a foot and not blink an eye. I don't want the person that thinks, oh my God, that's you're charging $1,000 for Christmas lights. That's not my customer, right? I won't want that customer. That's why we pre-qualify people. What do I mean by pre-qualifying people? Especially in the busy season, we're going to let them know, hey, Miss Jones, have you ever had professional Christmas lights installed? And they're going to say yes or no, and it doesn't matter how they say. And we're going to say, awesome. Let me tell you a little bit about how we do it. We are a red carpet service. We want to make sure that it is stress-free Christmas so that you don't have to worry about this at all. And so we are going to help you design this. We're going to help, and we're going to install this. If you ever have an issue, we will come and fix it for you the next day. And sometimes we just drive around and fix issues if we find them too. And not only that, we will come back and take them back down next year so that everything is ready to go down. And then, with that, our packages start at $1,000. Would you like me to get a quote for your house? And then you shut up. And it's going to get awkward because you're going to get one of two things. One is, what? There's no way I'd pay that much. And click. Guess what? That's not your customer. You don't want that customer. Or it's going to get quiet. And you're going to be like, did they hang up? Nope, they didn't hang up. It's still counting. And it's still quiet. And they're going to say, okay, that sounds great. And then we're going to work on, awesome. Well, let me get some information so I can look up your house. So that way we can get your address, your phone number, and I will get you a quote over within the next 20 minutes. And that's what sets you apart. People want to know what separates you from your competitors. Answering the phone, getting a quote out quick, taking care of your customer, having the best customer service. If you are amazing at customer service and you go above and beyond of anything you can do to be the best in customer service, you can be the crappiest business out there and you're still going to blow the businesses away. Because customer service by far is the most important thing that you can do. Are you answering the phone every time they call? Are you getting a quote? Are you sending them text letting them know you're on the way? Are you sending them a text letting them know that you're done with the job? Are you sending a text to say, is everything okay? Are you sending a text to say, do you have any friends for referrals? Are you sending any text to say, hey, did you give me a 5-star review? Right? It goes on and on. The communication is key. You cannot over communicate to your customer. Very rarely will you ever be able to over communicate to your customer. And guess what happens when you communicate to your customers? It will show up in your reviews. Your reviews will be like, man, he texted me. He let me know everything was going on. He sent me pictures. He was amazing. He brought me a gift at Christmas. Wow, this is awesome, right? And so these are the things that set you apart. I bought them from a local supplier, so I'll have to check, but almost positive they were LED. Yeah, I mean, if there was an LED, 10 strands, if it was only like 5 or 6 strands, and I'd say it probably wasn't, it would be incandescents. But that's weird that you can only plug that many in. Do you email or text quotes? Um, are you using picture mock-ups or just texting them with where the lights are going? So I would email and text because m- most people aren't checking their emails anymore because they get so many emails and they don't always check them. So I would send a quote via text and email so that way you know they get it. Is the one thing I would tell you. Mock-ups, these are things that can definitely help you separate, help you get better, to show them what it looks like. That can definitely help you in your sales process. Is it 100% that you need to do it? I know people, I never sent in them, and I never sent them mock-ups. I never sent them anything. I know people today still don't send them anything. I know some people that all they do is do some little squiggly lines and that's it. And they're closing jobs. They're doing 6 figures. So, do I think it can help separate you from your competitors? Absolutely. If you have a professional mock up, you know, and there's a couple mock up design tools. Some look okay, some look crappy, some look okay. I know people that use Photoshop and they're amazing at Photoshop and they dim the lights down. And guess who that is? Joseph Murphy. And guess what? If you come to the class next week, he's going to be teaching on commercial and how do they get 6 figure. A lot of it comes down to the mock-ups. Like he'll put the stars in the sky, puts the moon in the sky, right? It's all the little details that we don't always think about when you do it. And so this class coming up at christmaslights.io/IPT is definitely something that you will want to be at. Um, Jeremy Olson, Jason is giving out gold. It's not about the thing, know, like, and trust. And here's the thing, I love Jeremy because Jeremy's been doing this a while now. And he was struggling there in the beginning. But now he's kind of got his groove in the decks and doing the restoration. And it's the same thing, right? He's selling $5,000, $10,000 deck restorations. It's not about the deck. It's about building the know, like, and trust, and people will buy from you. That's the amazing part of it. And so that's the key. We want to overthink it. We try to overthink it. We try to make it way harder than it is. It's building the know, like, and trust. Communication. If you don't know how to communicate, take classes on it. Learn about it. Get coached on it. It will help you. You can go to different places to do this. I did this personally. When I first started, I joined BNI. And I didn't join it. I did join it to try to get business. I did not like to talk to people. I was scared to death to talk to people. I didn't understand the power of you have not because you ask not. All you got to do is ask. What's the worst they're going to say? No? Well, what happens if you don't ask? No? So just ask and you will find out 9 times out of 10, people say yes. And then you're like, crap, how do I figure that out? Well, that's what you got to do is figure it out then. And it's fun to figure it out, but that's what you got to do. You got to go ask for this stuff. You don't get 6-figure, you can get 6-figure contracts. Did you know that in pressure washing and in Christmas lights? But you got to go ask for them. You got to go flip rocks. You got to go find the people that you need to talk to that need your services. And the only way you're going to do it is go by flipping rocks and asking. This goes for pressure washing. This goes for Christmas lights. This goes for any business. All you got to do is go ask. You never know. What are they going to say? No? Okay. Go to the next one. That's what you do. So with that, go check out christmaslights.io. If you need any Christmas lights, you can buy them at christmaslight.io. Just take the S off. It'll take you straight to the sales page. I appreciate it. It helps me out if you buy them. I teamed up with Lights at Wholesale because they do have some of the best customer service. They have awesome lights and free shipping. Free shipping. That's right. You heard it right. Free shipping. Anything over $400, you get free shipping. And so that's a great deal when you're dealing with the stuff that is going out there now. I took the class last year and followed what Jason said. I made over $70,000 last year. Now I need to learn how to make $300 this year. Thanks, Jason. Come to Dallas. That's what I'm going to tell you. Come to Dallas. Because here's the thing. I know people that have taken my class and then they come back the next year and they're like, I didn't even know you taught that. I'm like, yeah, I taught it last year, but you just didn't pay attention because that's not what you were looking for. And I will promise you, if you come to Dallas and listen to Joseph and Chelsea, and if you don't 10x your money but what you spend, I will give you your $1,000 back. Because I am that down. As long as you take action, you can't just come and be like, well, I didn't make no money this year. Well, you didn't make no money because you didn't take action. This isn't a non-taking action class. You have to take action. You have to do hard things. You can do hard things. You have to do scary things. You can do scary things. But the key to it is you got to take action. I can sit here blue in the face, teach you everything you need to know to make $1 million. And if you don't take action, I was thinking about this. A lot of people don't like coaches. Coaches. People play NFL football. They have 10 coaches. Some players have 3 or 4 coaches, right? Michael Jordan had like 4 or 5 coaches. Guess what? It helps you grow your business. They're not the ones taking the shots. They're critiquing you and telling you what you need to do. So you take action. You have to take action, because if you don't take action and you just sit there and assume that it's going to happen, it's not going to happen. There's no reason that if you did 70,000 that you can't do 300,000, right? All we need to do is triple what you did. So that's not that hard. So with that, again, go check out christmaslights.io/IPT, in-person training, and hope to see you all in Dallas. Let's see, what's William saying here? Or Wilford. How much should I charge to put lights on industrial structure? Are you talking a building? I mean, there is times that I will come down off my $8 a foot, especially if it's super easy and it's magnet or something. I might come down to $7, but I'm still charging $7, $8 a foot is what I'm charging. So with that, if you want to learn more about commercial, definitely want to come to Dallas. I promise you, you do not want to miss out. With the Santa and reindeer, that's why you want to come to Dallas, because honestly, I would tell you not to do them. But with that said too, you're going to learn about assets with Joey, and he's going to talk about asset management and how important that is. So that is a great question to ask him. But other than that, hopefully you all have a great week. And again, I'll see you next week on Wednesday. I'll be here on Sunday, but Sunday is pressure washing or marketing, and Wednesday is Christmas lights. See you all later.